हेलो माय डियर स्टूडेंट, वेलकम बैक टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल सोना क्लासेस। आज हम डिस्कसन करिया प्ले ओस्टेट पेपर सेकेंड पेपर 2026 रो सीडीपी रो किछि एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चन आंसर डिस्कसन करिबा। क्वेश्चन नंबर 33 देखो, चिल्ड्रन विथ डिसेबिलिटीज शुड बी प्रोवाइडेड equal educational opportunities and appropriate support. Universal design for learning encourages multiple ways of engagement, representation, and expression. Universal design for learning encourages multiple ways of engagement, representation, and expression. A barrier-free school and environment primarily promotes accessibility. A barrier-free school environment primarily promotes accessibility. Gifted learners generally benefit from enrichment and challenging learning opportunity. Enrichment and challenging learning opportunity. Remedial teaching is intended mainly to address identified learning difficulties. Remedial teaching is intended mainly to address identified learning difficulties. तापरे differentiated instruction means adapting teaching to learners needs and differences. माने adapting teaching to learners needs and differences. Differentiated instruction means adapting teaching to learners needs and differences. तापर क्वेश्चन नंबर 39 देखा पहले, ए लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी प्राइमरीली अफेक्ट्स स्पेसिफिक एरिया ऑफ लर्निंग. ए लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी प्राइमरीली अफेक्ट्स स्पेसिफिक एरिया ऑफ लर्निंग. An inclusive teacher should have empathy and positive expectations. An inclusive teacher should have empathy and positive expectations. तापर assessment and evaluation देखा पहले, formative assessment is conducted during the teaching learning process. माने formative assessment is conducted during the teaching learning process. Formative assessment is conducted during the teaching learning process. तापर summative assessment is generally conducted at the end of a unit, course of or learning period. Summative assessment is generally conducted at the end of a unit, course or learning period. At the end of a unit, course or learning period रे summative assessment है. तापर देखा पहले, diagnostic assessment helps a teacher to identify specific learning difficulties. Diagnostic assessment that helps करसी a teacher के to identify specific learning difficulties. तापर assessment for learning primarily aims to improve ongoing learning. Assessment for learning primarily aims to assessment for learning primarily aims to improve ongoing learning. Improve ongoing learning. Assessment of learning mainly measures achievement after a learning period. Assessment of learning mainly measures achievement after a learning period. A rubric is a scoring guide with criteria and performance levels. A rubric is a scoring guide with criteria and performance level. Reliability of a test refers to its consistency of results. Reliability of a test refers to its consistency of results. Reliability of a test refers to its consistency of results. Validity refers to whether a test measures what it is intended to measure. Validity refers to whether a test measures what it is intended to measure. Validity refers to whether a test measures what it is intended to measure. Continuous assessment provides regular information about learner progress के माने continuous assessment provides regular information about learner progress के. तापर feedback is most useful when it is specific and constructive. तापर स्कूल मैनेजमेंट एंड क्लासरूम मैनेजमेंट देखा पहले क्वेश्चन नंबर 51. इफेक्टिव क्लासरूम मैनेजमेंट एम्स टू क्रिएट ए सपोर्टिव लर्निंग एनवायरनमेंट. इफेक्टिव क्लासरूम मैनेजमेंट एम्स टू क्रिएट effective classroom management aims to create a supportive learning environment. Effective classroom management aims to create a supportive learning environment. Classroom rules should ideally be clear, reasonable and consistently applied. Positive reinforcement means strengthening desirable behavior through positive consequences. The best way to handle minor classroom disruption is usually proportionate and constructive intervention. Democratic classroom management encourages participation and shared responsibility. Democratic classroom management encourages participation and shared responsibility. A teacher's lesson plan helps to organize objectives, activities and assessment. Learning objectives should be clear and measurable where appropriate. Teaching aids are used mainly to teacher aids are used mainly to make learning clearer and more meaningful. Effective questioning should encourage thinking and participation. Effective questioning should encourage thinking and participation. तापर क्वेश्चन नंबर 60 देखा पले ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चंस generally allow multiple possible responses and encourage thinking. Open ended questions generally allow multiple possible responses and encourage thinking. तापर motivation and intelligence देखा पले question number 61 extrinsic motivation comes from external rewards or consequences. Intrinsic motivation is driven mainly by internal interest or satisfaction. Intelligence should not be understood as a single ability that completely determines a learner's future. It should not understood. Question number 64 देखा पहले Gardner is associated with the theory of multiple intelligences. Gardner is associated with the theory of multiple intelligence. ता देखा पहले क्वेश्चन नंबर 65 linguistic intelligence is related to effective use of language. Logical mathematical intelligence involves reasoning and problem solving. Logical mathematical intelligence are reasoning and problem solving. तापर emotional intelligence involves the ability to understand and manage emotions. A teacher can improve motivation by connecting learning with learners' interests and experiences. A teacher can improve motivation तापरे क्वेश्चन नंबर 68 देखा पहले ए टीचर कैन इम्प्रूव मोटिवेशन बाय कनेक्टिंग माने ए टीचर कैन इम्प्रूव मोटिवेशन बाय कनेक्टिंग लर्निंग विथ लर्नर्स इंटरेस्ट एंड एक्सपीरियंसेस. सेल्फ efficacy refers to belief in one's ability to perform a task. A growth mindset emphasizes that abilities can develop through efforts, strategies, and support. तापर देखा पहले टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस क्वेश्चन नंबर 71 देखा पहले एक्सपेरिमेंटल लर्निंग emphasizes learning through experience and reflection. Problem solving teaching develops reasoning and application skills. Problem solving माने तमरा टीचिंग टा develops reasoning and application skills. Reasoning and application skills. Reasoning and application skills. तापर क्वेश्चन नंबर 73 देखा पहले प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग जनरली इन्वॉल्व्स इन्वेस्टिगेशंस ऑफ मीनिंगफुल टास्क और प्रॉब्लम्स. इन्वेस्टिगेशंस ऑफ मीनिंगफुल टास्क और प्रॉब्लम्स माने Project based learning generally involves investigation of meaningful tasks or problems. तापर देख पे प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग generally involves investigations of meaningful tasks or problems. तब क्वेश्चन नंबर 74 देखा पे कोलैबोरेटिव लर्निंग रिक्वायर्स लर्नर्स वर्किंग टुगेदर टुवर्ड लर्निंग गोल्स. तार क्वेश्चन नंबर 75 देखा पे क्वेश्चनिंग इज इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज इट कैन स्टिमुलेट थिंकिंग एंड चेक अंडरस्टैंडिंग. स्टिमुलेट थिंकिंग एंड चेक अंडरस्टैंडिंग. तुम्हारा क्वेश्चनिंग इज इम्पोर्टेंट है बिकॉज इट कैन स्टिमुलेट थिंकिंग एंड चेक अंडरस्टैंडिंग. तापर क्वेश्चन नंबर 76 देखा पे concept mapping is useful for showing relationships among concepts. Concept mapping is useful for showing relationships among concepts. तापर क्वेश्चन नंबर 77 देखा पे critical thinking involves analyzing, evaluating and reasoning about information. Critical thinking involves तब देखा पे critical thinking involves analyzing, evaluating and reasoning about information. तापर क्रिएटिविटी इज एनकरेज्ड व्हेन लर्नर्स आर गिवन opportunities to generate and explore ideas. Creativity is encouraged माने creativity is encouraged. Creativity is encouraged when learners are given opportunities to generate and explore ideas. Creativity is encouraged when learners are given opportunities to generate and explore idea. Peer assessment means learners provide feedback on one another work using criteria. Self-assessment helps learners reflect on their own learning and progress. तापर चाइल्ड सेंटर्ड एजुकेशन देखा पे क्वेश्चन नंबर 81 चाइल्ड सेंटर्ड एजुकेशन गिव्स प्राइमरी इम्पोर्टेंस टू लर्नर नीड्स इंटरेस्ट एंड एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन. तापर इन ए चाइल्ड सेंटर्ड क्लासरूम द टीचर एक्ट्स मेनली एज ए फैसिलिटेटर ऑफ लर्निंग. In a child-centered classroom, the teacher acts mainly as a facilitator of learning. तापर क्वेश्चन नंबर 83 देखा पे लर्निंग becomes more meaningful when it is connected with learners' prior knowledge and experiences. Learning becomes more meaningful when it is connected with learners' prior knowledge and experience. तापर prior knowledge is important because it provides a foundation for new learning. A teacher should encourage students to ask questions because questions promote curiosity and deeper understanding. Learning through discussion can promote communication and higher order thinking. Learning through discussion can promote communication and higher order thinking. Learning through discussion can promote communication and higher order thinking. तापरे individualized instruction is especially useful when learners have different learning needs. Individualized instruction is especially useful when learners have different learning needs. An effective teacher should respect diversity among learners. Actually, a question number 89 देखा a culturally responsive classroom values learners diverse cultural backgrounds. The main purpose of education is broader than scoring marks alone. तापर नेक्स्ट है पहले इवैल्यूएशन ए प्रोफेशनल प्रैक्टिस देखो पहले ए पोर्टफोलियो इज ए पर्पजफुल कलेक्शन ऑफ लर्नर वर्क ओवर टाइम. Observation can be used as an assessment technique. Observation can be used as an assessment technique. Anecdotal records content brief records of significant observed behavior. Anecdotal records contained brief records of significant observed behavior. Question number 94 देखा पहले a diagnostic test should be followed by appropriate remedial action. Effective feedback should focus primarily on the work and way to improve it. Effective feedback should focus primarily on the work and ways to improve it. Question number 96 देखा पहले evaluation is broader than measurement because evaluations involves judging information against criteria or objectives. Evaluation is broader than measurement because evaluations involves judging information against criteria or objectives. तापर क्वेश्चन नंबर 97 देखा पहले a criterion referenced assessment compares performance with predetermined criteria or standards. तापर a norm referenced assessment compares a learner performance with the performance of a reference group. तापर reflective teaching means thinking critically about one's teaching and improving practice. Thinking critically about one's teaching and improving practice. Reflective teaching means thinking critically about one's teaching and improving practice. तापर क्वेश्चन नंबर 100 देखा पहले the most appropriate role of assessment in teaching is to support and improve learning. The most appropriate role of assessment is the most appropriate role of assessment is teaching is to support and improve learning.